वंदे जगद्गुरुं श्रीमद् भगवद्गीता अध्याय 2 श्लोक 26 अथ चैनं नित्यजातं नित्यं वा मन्यसे मृतम् तथापि त्वं महाबाहो नैवं शोचितुमर्हसि। Until the previous shloka, Krishna explained to Arjuna that the Atma is free from birth and death. Atma is eternal. Atma is free from modification, and Atma is free from even birth and death. Therefore, there is no room for sorrow as far as the Atma is concerned. As far as the self is concerned, there is no room for sorrow. Now, Krishna is speaking from another standpoint regarding the self, regarding the Atma. People can hold three types of views. Three types of drishti. Drishti means view. We can hold three types of drishti. And the three types of views depend on the subtleness of an individual's understanding. How refined an individual understanding is. Depending on that, there are three views, three drishtis. The first drishti is Dehatma drishti. It is the grossest form of understanding. Dehatma drishti. Very simple. Body is the self. I am the body. And how many times the body has birth? The body has only one birth and it has one death. And it exists only in between birth and death. So this life spanning 100 years or 92 years or 82 years, this lifespan is the lifespan. There was nothing before this and there is nothing after this. This view is held by one form of philosopher. in our ancient philosophies. He is called Charvaka. Charvaka philosophy. Even now we have similar philosophies. Many of the materialistic people hold this kind of a view. Body is the self. But then when we come to the Shastra, we get a more refined view. Body is not the be all and end all of an individual. There is something beyond the body. The existence of an individual transcends the body. This is a little more refined view. It is called Jivatma Drishti. The first one was called Dehatma Drishti. The second Drishti is called Jivatma Drishti. I am a Jivatma. This understanding. I am a soul. For Jivatma, we can use the word soul. The soul continues to exist even after the death of the body. The Jivatma continues to exist even after the death of the body. Even in this understanding, the Jivatma is limited. Jivatma has confinement. Jivatma has its limitations. And Jivatma is the doer and enjoyer. In a particular body, the Jivatma does certain types of karma, both good and evil karma, and accumulates punya and papa in a particular life. At the end of this life, at the end of this lifespan, the Jivatma leaves the body and travels. And it takes up another body, another janma. According to its karma, the karma which the Jivatma has done in the previous life determines its birth. It takes another body. And in that body, the Jivatma gets pleasant and unpleasant experiences. So you are a Jivatma. Jivatma or Jiva. You are a Jiva. This is a little more advanced understanding. I am not the body, but I am a Jiva. The Jiva transcends the body. This is another understanding. But the Vedanta says, even this understanding is not ultimate. You are Jivatma. It is true at one level. From the empirical level, from the empirical standpoint, from the Vyavaharika standpoint, You are Jivatma. But if we inquire further, you are not even a Jivatma. Your true nature is not even the Jivatma. When do you become a Jivatma? You become Jivatma when you identify with the mind, with the senses, with the Sukshma Sharira. When you identify with the Sthula Sharira, you become Dehatma. But when you identify with the Sukshma Sharira, you become Jivatma. The Atma associated with the Sukshma Sharira. Sukshma Sharira includes the mind, senses, prana. All these are components of Sukshma Sharira. When you identify with the Sukshma Sharira, you become Jivatma. But in reality, you are not even a Jivatma. You transcend even the nature of Jivatma. Then what are you? You are Parama Atma. Parama means infinite. Parama means supreme, free from all limitations. That is the true nature of Atma. That is why it is called Paramatma. The true nature of Atma is Paramatma. So you are Paramatma. This is the understanding that Krishna has been trying to give us. You are Parama Atma, not even Jivatma. Even the understanding I am a Jivatma is an illusion, is a delusion. So now, after conveying you are Paramatma in the last few verses, it is Paramatma Drishti, the third Drishti, the third view, which is the Vedanti's view, a Jnani's view. It is Paramatma Drishti. I am Paramatma. Aham Paramatma. Aham Brahma. This view, this vision is the vision of a Jnani, the ultimate vision. But everyone cannot own up this vision. Despite teaching, many people fail to grasp, fail to own up the Paramatma Drishti. Aham Paramatma, everyone cannot understand. And for such people, Krishna comes down one level and he takes up the Jivatma Drishti for the time being. If you are not able to understand Paramatma Drishti, let us as of now, let us accept Jivatma Drishti. Accepting Jivatma Drishti is like accepting geocentric theory. There is a geocentric theory, heliocentric theory. What is geocentric theory? Earth is the center. Ignorant people thought so. Earth is the center of the universe. But then there is a heliocentric theory. Sun is the center of the universe. To understand heliocentric theory, we have to negate geocentric theory. Without negating geocentric theory, one cannot own up the heliocentric theory. Similarly, to understand, to own up Paramatma Drishti, one has to give up the Jivatma Drishti. One has to give up the Dehatma Drishti, as well as one has to give up the Jivatma Drishti. But some people cannot give up. In fact, many people cannot give up even Dehatma Drishti. I am the body. How many people can give this up? Because our identification with the body is very strong. It's not easy to give up. That is why we hold on to Dehatma Drishti. Despite listening to Bhagavad Gita, despite listening to Vedanta, and even if some people are able to give up Dehatma Drishti up to certain extent, they cannot give up Jivatma Drishti. Because our identification with the mind, senses, intellect, all these are very strong. That is why Krishna makes a compromise, at least for now. It is just like accepting geocentric theory to explain certain things to a child. When you have to explain certain things to a child, you have to accept certain simple things for the time being. Let us say Earth is the center. It's a temporary acceptance. In fact, when you speak to a child, you know that the child will grow later on, and as the child grows, it will understand the heliocentric theory. But now the child is not in a position to understand the heliocentric theory. Therefore, we will speak to the child from the standpoint of geocentric theory. With this understanding, you speak to the child and say, everything revolves around the earth. That is fine. Then you can make the child understand certain things. Similarly, Krishna is accepting Jivatma Drishti for now. And he says, if at all you consider the Atma is just Jivatma, Jivatma is the nature of the Atma. And what is the biography of this Jivatma? Jivatma is repeatedly born and it repeatedly dies. It goes from Janma to Janma, from birth after birth. Jivatma keeps traveling. Jivatma is a constant traveler, perpetual traveler. That is called samsara. Samsaranam, constantly traveling from one body to another body. It is called samsara. A perpetual traveling. And a perpetual traveling involves perpetual struggle. Jivatma is a perpetual struggler. And with every phase of the struggle, the Jivatma thinks, now the struggle will come to an end. Jivatma thinks so. We can think of ourselves as Jivatma. We keep traveling, sometimes house to house. Those who are living in rented places, they know. Traveling from house to house. And in every house, this person thinks this may be the last. After retirement, the person thinks, now I will get retired and everything is settled, so I'll be happy. But then there are so many other issues. When we were children, we thought, once the schools gets over, we will be happy forever. It's a drudgery to go to school. Once I complete my 10th exam or 12th exam, all my struggles will come to an end and I'll be happy. We thought so. But after 10th, after 12th, there is college, there is university. After university, look for a job. After a job, look for getting married, children. Every point of time, there had been a struggle. And we have been thinking, after this point of time, I will be happy. But that day never comes in the Jivatma's life. Because Jivatma is a constant traveler. Samsarati. Therefore, he is called Samsari. Jivatma is a Samsari. So this samsari is nityajatam, repeatedly born, travels from birth to birth, and nityam mritam, repeatedly dies also, because every birth follows a death. After every birth, there is a death. It is the truth of life, whether we like it or not. Therefore, Jivatma is nityam mritam. Jivatma dies repeatedly. Nityam Jatam and Nityam Mritam is Jivatma. See here, Dehatma is only once Jatam. It has only one birth and one death. Whereas Jivatma is Nityam Jatam, Nityam Mritam. Repeatedly born and repeatedly dies. Now, Krishna tells Arjuna, even if you think so, even if you think you are a Jivatma, even if you think your relatives are Jivatmas, even then you should not be sad. You should not grieve, because all these are inevitable. Birth and death are inevitable for a Jivatma. Birth and death are part of a Jivatma's journey. See the verse. Atha chainam nityajatam. Atha cha. Atha cha indicates that this is a compromised view by Krishna. Krishna is not supporting this view because he knows this is not the ultimate view. This is not the real vision, not the true vision, but it is only from the standpoint of an ignorant one who is not yet able to accept the truth, who is not able to understand the absolute truth. Krishna is condescending and coming to the level of a student. Enam nityajatam manyase. If you think this Atma is nityajata, Atma is repeatedly born, and nityam va manyase mritam, and you think the Atma is repeatedly subject to death, tathapi tvam mahabaho naivam shochitum arhasi. He Mahabaho, Bhagavan is addressing Arjuna. O Mahabahu, one who has mighty arms is called a Mahabahu. Arjuna had mighty arms. He Mahabaho, tathapi, even then, even if you hold the view of a Jivatma, naivam shochitum arhasi, you should not lament in this manner. As you are lamenting now, you are not supposed to lament. Why? Krishna is giving the reason in the following shloka. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityuhu dhruvam janma mritasya cha tasmadapariharyerthe na tvam shochitumarhasi. Yeah. Krishna says, for someone who is born, death is inevitable. If there is a birth, there has to be a death also. Every birth is followed by a death. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityuhu. Jataha, one who is born, he definitely has a mrityu. Dhruvaha means a definite. Mrityuhu, mrityu is definite. Anything that is born has death. Now Krishna will ask you, do you have death? Do you have death? It depends on how you look upon yourself. If you understand you are the Atma, if you have the third view, Paramatma Drishti, then you are free from death, because Paramatma does not have death. Instead, if you think you are Dehatma, or if you think you are Jivatma, you cannot be free from death. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityu. See how Krishna trickily puts it. Krishna does not say you have death. Tava dhruvo mrityuhu. Krishna does not say. Jatasya mrityuhu dhruvaha. One who is born, it has definite death. Dhruvan janma mritasya cha. And the Jivatma, which is subject to death, when the Jivatma dies and leaves the body, then it has another birth also. Janma dhruvam, it has a definite rebirth also. The Jivatma can never be free from rebirth, because the Jivatma has done some karma in the previous life. And it has to experience the result of the karma of the previous life. Therefore, it has to be reborn. Therefore, dhruvam janma mritasya cha. The Jivatma which has death will definitely have another birth. The Jivatma is never free from the cycle of birth and death. There is no way of putting an end to the cycle of birth and death other than one means. And what is the means? To understand that I am not Jivatma. I am Paramatma. One has to get this understanding. Then he is free from the cycle of birth and death. It is called moksha. And to get moksha, one should understand I am not even the Jivatma, I am Paramatma. It is called jnana. Understanding I am not the Jivatma, I am Paramatma. This understanding is called jnanam. Atma jnanam, self-knowledge. And the self-knowledge alone can put an end to the cycle of birth and death. Until then, The cycle of birth and death is inevitable. It is inevitable. Apariharya. Apariharya means unavoidable. There is no other solution. Therefore, if you choose to remain a Jivatma, if you choose to remain ignorant about your true self, then birth and death are inevitable for you. Birth and death are apariharya for you. And if something is unavoidable, there is no point in worrying about it. It does not help in any way. Worrying about the unavoidable does not help in any manner. Then what to do about the unavoidable? There is no use of worrying. There is no use of complaining because it is unavoidable. If I complain, the unavoidable will not go. There is no use of complaining. There is no use of lamenting. There is no use of weeping and wailing. Then what should I act? What should I do? The only way is to accept. Accept that this is a part of life. That is the only way. One has to understand that it is an unavoidable part of life. It's an unavoidable characteristic of life. One should understand it and accept it. Practice acceptance of the unavoidable. Therefore, Krishna says, Tasmat, therefore, apariharyerthe, regarding the unavoidable facts of life. Apariharya artha means unavoidable fact of life. Tvam shochitum na arhasi, you should not grieve. Shloka 27. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrit. 28. 27 we have already seen. 28. Avyaktadini bhutani. Vyaktamadhyani bharata. Avyaktanidhananyeva tatra ka paridevana. Krishna explains the journey of the Jivatma. A Jivatma travels from body to body. The body is like a seat of the Jivatma. Just like when we travel, we occupy a particular seat according to our ticket. If we are traveling in the train, or if we are traveling in a flight or bus, we occupy a particular seat in the vehicle. Similarly, for a Jivatma, the body serves as a seat. When we travel, we happen to meet many co-passengers. Also, if you notice, when you travel, when you sit in a particular train or flight, you get a new identity. Your seat number is your new identity. If someone asks, where is 10A? You have to raise your hand. Now, if someone calls your name, you raise your hand. Where is Ishan? He will raise his hand. Similarly, when you are sitting in a flight, if the air hostess asks, where is 10A? If your number is 10A, you have to raise your hand. It is your new identity. And this identity is valid during the journey, neither before the journey nor after the journey. During the course of journey, that identity is valid for you. Similarly, when you come to this body, you get a new identity. You get a new name. None of us had this name before we were born. When we entered this body, we got this name, Mr. So and so, Miss so and so, new identity, a new address, son of so and so, daughter of so and so. All are our new identities. And this identity is valid for this life path. Not before that, not after that. So this is one part of a Jivatma's journey. Just one course of Jivatma's journey. It's just a part of the journey. It is not the whole of journey. And in this journey, we meet some co-passengers, all our relatives, all our friends, all the people we come across. They are also other Jivatmas. And even they are in the course of journey. And sometimes we meet just like co-passengers. Sometimes if the train journey is very long, we introduce ourselves with the co-passengers, the neighbors, and sometimes we may exchange our food. If you are traveling from south to north or east to west, long train journeys, you become friends. But then you know that you are a different person and he is a different person. After this journey, you have your own things to do. and he has his own things to do. Somewhere you are meeting in between, and after the meeting, for a while you will be together, and then you will part ways. It is known, it's a well known fact when we travel in flight or train. Similarly, even in the journey of life, the other person is a stranger. We don't know who is that person. He is another Jivatma. He has come with his own baggage of karma, his own baggage of samskara. And now he is your relative or friend. He may be your spouse. He may be your son, daughter, whatever. Now you are related. But after a while, when his time comes, he will get down. When your station comes, you will get down from this part of the journey. And then he will take his own course of journey, and you will take your own course of journey. Before he came, before you came across him, you didn't know that Jiva. It's a different Jiva. What he was or what she was before he or she became known to you, you have no idea. What he was in the previous Janma, what he was in all the previous Janmas, you have no idea. And after this Janma, what happens to him, you have no idea. Because he is another traveler, he has his own path to traverse. Therefore, Krishna says, accept it as a fact of life. People come and go in life. Relatives come and go in life. And for a while he became your son. For a while she became your daughter. And then he or she has to continue his or her life, her journey. Is a different Jiva. Accept it. Do not grieve for the separation. If you come across someone, there will be a point when you have to part with. Sanyogaha viprayogantaha. Every association is followed by a dissociation. Every relation is followed by a dissociation. Whatever may be the extent of intimacy. And we have to accept it as an inevitable part of life. And make ourselves free from lamentation. Make ourselves free from getting disturbed by the separations in life. Avyaktadini bhutani. Bhutani, the beings, referring to the Jivatmas. Avyaktadini, In the beginning means before they are born, they are avyakta. You don't know where they are coming from. You don't know what he or she was before it. Vyaktamadhyani Bharata. In between, they become Vyakta. They are evident. They become manifest. You become aware of them. And avyakta nidhananyeva. After death, also they are avyakta. You have no way of knowing what happens to him or her. No way of knowing. Where that Jivatma has gone, no way of knowing. Therefore, avyakta nidhanani. Avyakta nidhananyeva tatra ka paridevana. It is a fact of life. Therefore, there is no need of paridevana. There is no use of lamentation. Paridevana means lamentation. Grieving. There is no use of grieving regarding the people who have left you in their course of journey. Therefore, even from the Jivatma point of view, the sorrow is not justified. Lamentation is not justifiable. Grieving for the relative, grieving for the loss of a relative or a friend does not stand justified even from the Jivatma point of view. Then what about from Paramatma point of view? If it cannot be justified even from the Jivatma point of view, definitely it cannot be justified from the Paramatma point of view. Therefore, Krishna tells Arjuna, be free from sorrow with this understanding. Abide in this understanding, abide in the understanding of the true self, and make yourself free from sorrow. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.